In America, I just hate how everything is all about money, money, money. Like, who gives a fuck about how like the mind state or the mental state of people?
Y'all, her caption says only rich people deserve a good life. And by the way, stick around at least for the next clip. Trust me, the next clip is wild. Trust me, and we got to get into it.
Who gives a fuck? It's just about if you got money or not. And those who got money, no matter if they got it by blood, if they got it by scamming, if they got it by exploitation, if you got money, you deserve to live a great life or to be treated the best. That's bullshit to me. That's bullshit. Like, I just think that's such bullshit. I just think it's such bullshit. The only people who deserve to live a good life are people who got money. Like, what kind of bullshit shit is that? But the people who create, the people who have big hearts, the people who are about community, they suffer because they don't want to exploit people, they don't want to use people, they don't want to manipulate people. So therefore, you gotta suffer, you gotta live a hard life. I just think the shit is bullshit. In America,
You don't have to live a hard life. For one, money isn't going to make you happy. Money, I look at money as an amplifier. And here's the thing. She's like making a distinction that really the lazy distinction that most people make, most simple-minded people make. And here's what I mean. The distinction is that if you have money, you're good. I mean, you're bad. If you don't have money, you're inherently good. Now, we go over government assistance and just the way people take advantage of that egregiously, even knowing that they don't need it, which then actually basically makes the people who actually need it have to wait longer, as well as sometimes not even get what they need when they need it. And these are people who don't have anything, right? And we see a lot of people that we review with really bad character who are poor. And then it's no wonder why they stay poor. The thing is this, where I was going with it is that money is an amplifier. So money, success is really just going to make you more of what you already were. If you were already a ishy person, then money is not going to make you a better person. It's going to make you more of what you were. If you were already an anxious person, you get some money, it's only going to make you more anxious, right? It's literally just that simple. If you are already a confident person and a giving person, you get more money, you're only gonna be more confident, more giving, right? So I think that's how we have to look at it. I feel like it's a lazy view to just say that, rich people are bad and good and poor people are good, because it's just simply not true. And people inherently are already complex as it is. So to just equate it to such simple terms, again, I think it's lazy thinking. Before we get into the next clip, y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
At what point does it become okay to say we need to kill these people because otherwise they're going to kill us? At what point does it become okay to say that? Because I'm getting real frustrated making $80,000 a year and at any given time having like fucking $30 to work with, dude. I have a child that I need to feed and take care of and provide a future for. At what point do we get to say that we need to kill these people, man? Because that's what they're trying to do to us. It's only fucking self-defense at that point, man. We are getting to a point where anything that we decide to do is only self-defense. Fuck these people, man. They don't give a fuck about us, dude. They're gonna let us die. And they're gonna do it real slow, too. Fuck these people, dude. Fuck these Epstein class people, dude. They'll be lucky if we don't fucking torture them, man. They'll be lucky. Because I'm getting to a point, man, where I can't do it anymore. And I'm on track to make $6,700 for the month, dude. How the fuck am I going to average out at about $7K for the month and I can't afford shit, motherfucker? I'm coming to my bank to yell at people right now. What the fuck is going on here? You Epstein class motherfuckers. Bullets are about to fly. It's coming. I'm about to start purchasing firearms, man. Not even kidding with you. This is un-American what's happening. It's time for the Americans to stand up and do our constitutional duty now. Fuck these people. At what
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? He's doing pretty all right for himself, right? I think if we'd have just had the conversation and we started to kind of unpack his financial situation, then maybe we could have solved things in a better way, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to live the old school traditional way of living as far as taking care of a family, got a newborn baby, I don't think that he's made the pivot to understand that we're in a new economy where one income, even though he makes decent money, is not typically going to be enough to provide for a household, depending on the way that you expect that you all should live. Now, let's just really address the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Listen, listen. It's crazy, right? Because he's complaining about 80K a year, 60 pacing to make 6,700 in the month. And let's just be honest. When this video does its rounds, and I'm not talking about my video, I'm just talking about his video in general. As it continues to do its rounds and gain traction, he's going to be absolutely under the microscope. Like, I'm sure people are going to be watching him very closely. I don't even know if just what he said right there was enough to be able to take some type of criminal action against him. However, you're making 80K, you can barely take care of your family. You're about to be making zero pretty soon. Listen, I am an advocate of freedom of speech. I think that people should be able to express themselves and all that good stuff, all that good jive. But goodness gracious, dude. You know what's crazy? Like, you can come online and say what he just said, like deaf to a certain segment of people or whatever. But think about like all the little taboo things that like people can't say now. Like the way that they police speech and things that was normal to say back in the day. You can't even say like it's controversial if you say, kids shouldn't be able to alter their gender. Like they'll try to make it seem like you can't say that. But he can come on here and just say unalive rich people. Dude, you're not going to have your job much longer. That's just crazy. And because the reason is because now, and guess what? I'm fully an advocate of freedom of speech because I want you to tell us what's going through your head. This is how we can actually avoid a lot of catastrophes, in my opinion. So thank you for letting us know that you're one of those type of people, right? Active shooter energy is what you got. And thank you for confirming that. And so now we can be on high alert. But who's finna keep working around you and have to be on high alert all the time, just waiting for the day when you show up and you just snap? So now if you could barely take care of your family off 80K, how are you going to be able to do it on zero? Or even worse, if you go to prison or go to jail? What in the heck is wrong with this dude? And his family is going to suffer because of this. And I wonder what their thoughts are after they actually see this. And like, I'm sure they're going to get on his case, but it might be too late because you've already given us insight into how you think, and you took it a step further. It's one thing you were saying, unalive, rich, whatever, but then to go and say that you're actually going to start purchasing ammunition. I don't want to be anywhere near a vicinity of where this guy is going to be. It's like, what do you do with people who make coded threats like this, where it's very obvious what they're ultimately trying to convey, but they're coding it in a way to where it's not directly or overtly stated, because we know what you're talking about, but the laws, you have to like prove it without a shadow of a doubt. But at the same time, do we just sit here and wait for it to happen? And so you put yourself in a very precarious spot. And I'd be curious to stay on top of this and understand what comes behind this ultimately. Because this video was gaining in its, I don't want to say popularity, but it's virality. And, you have to keep it together. You just have to continue moving through the fog and taking care of your family, but ultimately making sure that you're intentional about having a family to begin with when you're actually ready to have one, ultimately. Again, y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. Her caption says 500,000 and I still feel sad.
I want to know why nobody talk about how it feels when you get to a certain level of success after you've been privatized for so long. And I'm talking about this because I don't think my sisters and nobody really understand me when I say it hurts to try to be my best self. Like I'm already, you know, I've made over $500,000, and it already feels very fucking lonely because none of my family can do the things that I want to do. And then I'm giving people money to do stuff with me. I'm buying their flights and trips because I don't want to hear I don't have it. It gets very sad. I think about, dang, do I want to keep building my multi-million-dollar company? Because I don't want to be by myself in this. Like, it's so frustrating and it's so hurtful. And then your mind frame, when you get to a certain amount of money, you don't even look at money the same. You realize this stuff is like, it's really like it's physical, but it's really digital. Like, it's so much of it, and it's not as scarce as it's made to believe. When you're privatized, then people wake up like, how can I get some money? I don't think like that no more. It's money everywhere I look. And so it's just painful because I invited my best friend on a trip a couple years ago. I gave her $500 when she landed. Put her in the Trump hotel. We was in Vegas. I paid for everything. She was talking to her boyfriend the whole trip. She was ready to go home. I just felt so stupid because it was just like, I felt like she needed a break, but she didn't have no money. I was going on a trip. I'm just trying to over accommodate people because I feel guilty. I want to know why no.
You know what's crazy? People cannot wait to just brag about their money or whatever. $500,000. I'm not trying to seem like I'm just, you know, I don't have a pulse of society. Like, that's not a lot of money. But why do you have to let everybody know you got $500,000? And here's the thing: is $500,000 your net worth, or did you make $500,000 and you haven't accounted taxes yet, and you've been spending a lot of it anyway, and maybe even you have a business and that's just your revenue, but that's not necessarily your net profit, not gross profit, net profit. We have to understand these type of things because from my experience, people like to overinflate certain things, right? Like even job positions. You ask people their job position, it'd be the most basic job position, and they always add a little spice to it. I heard somebody, they're like, "What do you do?" And they're just like, "Oh yeah, I work for a Fortune 500 company." And it's like, "Ninja, you work at Walmart." You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? "Oh, I'm a porcelain engineer. I'm a porcelain shine engineer." Porcelain shine engineer. Mother, you clean bathrooms, you clean toilets. Like, people always want to try to put some spice on their position or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if she done put some spice in saying this 500,000. See, I'm conservative with what I do. I'm gonna always say things conservatively and accurately. I don't care if I didn't earn it. If I didn't earn to just be able to say it, then I'm not gonna say it. I like to be authentic, and I want to be the genuine article. Whatever I say, that's what it is. Because I'm still thinking I already know where I'm going. So I don't mind just saying what it is because I want to actually earn what it is that I'm trying to get. And I want it again, I want to be the genuine article. So, but most people will overinflate what they're talking about. Now, 500,000 and look at what she's doing. She's basically blowing it. She's spending it on everybody. Because why is she doing that? It comes back to what I originally stated. Why is she blowing all her money on her friends? Not even her family, her friends, everybody, just blowing it. Everything she's paying for. If she go on a trip with her friends, she's paying for their flights. And guess what? When they get there, she's probably paying the hotel and all the meals. Why? Why? Here's why. Because of what I said. You decided to come online, and I would guess that when you're around people, you're telling everybody that you can, that's going to listen to you, that you have $500,000. That's what you're telling everybody. Imagine you're overinflating numbers and stuff, and then they take that as a hard number, and now they're moving like that with you, and now they're like, "Oh, you can handle everything now." And this is why, if you do have something, if you are doing well for yourself, it's usually best practice to just go ahead and keep that to yourself, right? That way you don't ultimately get taken advantage of, and then people start treating you different. And next thing you know, now you're having to take care of everybody like they're your entourage. And guess what? When the money runs out, then all of a sudden, they're not going to take care of you the way that you were taking care of them. So it's usually just best to keep certain information to yourself. Is that so hard? I don't think it's that hard. People don't have to know your financial situation. Even your family, they don't have to know that. That's really none of their business. And so I think she'd be wise to do that, but most likely she is going to, I hope she doesn't blow it, but it seems like she just has a philosophy like it'll never run out. And that's what we see a lot of times, right? People just moving in ways like money's never going to run out, and like things can't happen, like AI, like automation, like what we're seeing in the economy now. There were people with great jobs, corporate jobs, all type of jobs. And now what do we see? Layoffs. Layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. Didn't Paramount lay off like a thousand people? Everywhere you turn, there's layoffs. I'm gonna do a video about the Walmart layoffs, where they laid off like 1,000 workers, which actually probably isn't that bad in the grand scheme of Walmart. But yeah, I mean, come on now. People will be living like the money can never run out. And then all of a sudden, when they hit rock bottom, they got nobody else to blame but themselves. Her caption says, I wouldn't give my family money if I was to go get rich.
And it's crazy how my family think. Like, we always talk about if I was to get a lot of money, because I am the most passionate in my family. So my family always get upset because I'll be like, I'm not giving y'all no money. I'm not giving y'all no money. I'm giving y'all, I'm make sure y'all have the house, the car. I make sure y'all have what y'all need. But after that, y'all gonna have to fend for y'all motherfucking self. And why I say that is because my family got a lot of ability. They got a lot of ability. My mama is a chef the fuck down. She always in that kitchen motherfucking cooking. She don't work, so she be cleaning, cooking, taking care of the dog. She be doing whatever the fuck she want to do. Why you not vlogging it? And all she do is she's fucking old as hell, so all she do is curse,
Hmm.
funny as hell. Like, we don't even be worrying about her because her ass is so motherfucking funny and old. You can be vlogging. You could be doing something.
I like that.
Something that you don't have to clock in and go do. Something you can do your own. My sister, ASMR. All she do is fucking dance and eat ice. I just saw this lady up here. She got over 1 million fucking followers because all she do is eat ice. All they do is hear her eat ice. And my sister is anemic. Therefore, she don't pass a fucking QT without getting ice. She don't pass a QT without getting ice. She don't. My nephew, a gamer. He's 17. I'm gonna let him ride it out. But by time you hook up that damn system that we just bought you for Christmas, bitch, and you ain't vlogging it, you ain't streaming it, at least 5 hours.
Ma'am, don't drive yourself crazy trying to speak life into other people. If you want to give the idea, and then continue to do what you do. But again, see, it's like people want to be like, I'm not going to help my family or whatever, but then they just feel the need to brag so heavily and just let them know about all their intimate financial details. Just keep it to yourself. And where I was going was, Listen, you're trying to speak life in other people, tell them all the things they should do, how they could be capitalizing, how they could be doing whatever. I've learned from experience. You can say it one time or whatever, give the idea, and then just leave it alone. Let people make the decision that they want to make. I've always been somebody that executes, but most people aren't like that. Most people just don't have that drive, right? They want everything, they feel entitled to everything. But then when you actually give them some ideas or whatever, that is going to take a little bit of work, but that will ultimately be in their best interest long term. A lot of times, most people don't follow through. They don't follow through. And so you'll drive yourself crazy trying to hold them accountable to follow through. And ultimately, what that would do is that will drain your own life force that you could be investing into your own endeavors. And it'll basically leave you drained. And then they'll be resenting you because you keep coming behind their bumper, trying to get them to do something that's best for them in the long run and maybe even their family. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. When the student is ready, then they will seek the master. But trying to force people before it's their time, and we have to be understanding of people's timings, right? Everybody's timing is different, and ultimately, what it comes down to is desire. And if they're not doing it, then that means they don't have the desire, they don't have the hunger, and it's going to be hard for them to actually have success in it anyway if the burning hunger and desire isn't there to begin with.
The day that you be on that motherfucker, he be on that game faithfully. You ain't getting shit from me. You wouldn't dare get a damn penny from me. My brother work at a hospital. It's so much shit.
She gonna give a million examples of how people could be basically just getting on social media and making money. Okay, we get it. Three examples is enough. His caption says, "Hating rich people is low IQ."
Me and you understand about capitalism that those other people all over your For You page like actually can't comprehend. I've been seeing all these people just scream like, eat the rich, fuck the billionaires, kill them all, like capitalism is evil. But since me and you aren't perpetual victims, we want to control our own life, we have our own desires, we want to make money and we're not going to blame anybody else. We understand that the system of capitalism pays you exactly what you're worth. So you realize that if someone's made millions of dollars or billions of dollars, they've probably impacted the world in a positive way that brought value to billions of people. And they were rewarded with a chunk of money because of the impact they had on the world and the ability to affect other people's lives. So that means that we understand if we would like to make our own money, we need to help other people get the things that they want or provide value to a business owner in a way that somebody else really can't. See, working at a Chipotle, you're gonna get paid minimum wage because anyone can put food in the bowl, anyone can put fries in the bag. But let's say a skill like marketing or TikTok shop, we help a business owner fix their problem of getting their product in front of a bunch of people. And we help those people solve a problem, a want, or a need that they have. And because we are solving problems for other people other than ourselves, we're not selfish and we don't blame the world and we provide value to other people, we can start making money. And then you realize if you have any problem with capitalism in your head and you think it's evil, you probably just aren't providing value to like anyone around you other than yourself. You're probably just consuming. So if you like step outside of yourself and like try to actually impact the world and do something bigger than, just for yourself, you'll make money and you won't hate capitalism anymore.
You know what's crazy too? This dude's clearly young, right? Understand your age doesn't affect how smart you are, how wise you are. It's all about experience. You have some people who are as old as can be without a lick of wisdom. And it's ultimately because they haven't done enough. They weren't courageous. They didn't do enough things. They weren't afraid to fail at enough things. I have a lot of experience. I've done a lot of different things. And so every time I take away the insights and the feedback, and then a lot of times those things then translate to other sectors, other verticals, and ultimately other endeavors that I partake in. And so I failed a lot. And I've had to build back up from scratch multiple times. And so what that did was that hardened me, but that ultimately sharpened me as well. And it made me super capable, made me a very capable person. And ultimately, that's what he's saying, taking ownership as opposed to being a victim. And as far as feeling like the world owes you something, no, you take responsibility and you just solve the problem. And that's what capitalism is. And depending on maybe where you are or maybe your mindset, that's going to determine the way that you look at capitalism. Because if you are somebody who is willing to fail, as well as fail publicly, right? And because most people, what their biggest fear is the fear of failing publicly and looking dumb in front of other people. If you can get over that, you can do some really good things in this world. You have to get over that. And however you have to justify it in your mind, as far as just getting over that hurdle and just looking dumb, you just got to understand everything that you get into that's new, there's going to be a process. The process is you're going to look dumb at the beginning and you're not going to know what you're doing. The next step is really 3 steps to it. Is looking dumb at the beginning. Then you just have the messy middle where you don't look as dumb anymore, but it's still kind of messy. You're still making mistakes. But then the third layer is when you get to clean execution. And that's when you can actually start executing cleanly. That doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes. But even when you're making mistakes, they're not as glaring as they used to be. And you're really just refining at that point, at every step. And so if people take away I don't want to look dumb doing this, so I'm just not going to do it. It's kind of like what that woman was saying, where she was trying to encourage her family and her friends. Oh, you could be filming your food stuff. You could be doing this. You could be doing that. Well, probably the barrier that's holding a lot of those people back is that beginning part that I talked about. And maybe even that messy middle as well. But it's usually the beginning. They just don't know where to start and they don't want to look dumb starting. And because of that, you miss out on all the value that's on the other side. Because there's a lot of value on the other side. And we have to understand where the economy is going, where society is going ultimately. A lot of windows are closing fast. And there's always going to be something next, right, to take advantage of, to capitalize off of. But as far as the windows that she was talking about, it's not going to be as open as it once was. Even think about YouTube. Like there used to be a time on YouTube where anybody, like there was no competition. Anybody just pick up a camera. You didn't have to know how to talk, whatever. You were going to have success. Now YouTube is a lot more saturated. And with saturation, what comes after that? You actually have to be good at it. You have to be good. You have to now, if you want to thrive on YouTube and you don't already have an audience, then you have to be pretty good. You have to be able to stand out above the crowd and ultimately break through the noise. Kind of like what we see in the job market. Right now, a lot of layoffs, a lot of things going on, AI automation. So the only people who really aren't too affected by everything that's going on are going to be the people, or are the people who can stand out above the noise, whether that be in the way that they break through the noise, or maybe just their credentials and their accolades stand out above the noise and separate themselves from the rest of the competition. But whenever there's saturation, there has to be something that stands out above the competition, especially if you really want to take off and start snowballing and gaining momentum, as well as keep it.
Realized that there is shit tons of advice online about how to become rich, and almost no advice online about how to be rich. Accumulating wealth is taught, but enjoying wealth is not.
Because at the end of the day, they found a thing in a niche and they've unlocked the key, right? Like it's like slaying the dragon, getting the treasure, not to splash around in it, Scrooge McDuck style. And you got to think, like, people are successful, have gotten really focused and really trained on doing something very well. And sometimes they do this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So all those other muscles, I'm going to call them muscles, like the go socialize with your neighbor muscle, the go travel and explore muscle, the discovery muscle, all those atrophy.
I realized that there is shit.
His caption says, advice for men who want to be super successful.
Here is some brutally honest advice for men that want to be successful. Number one, you can literally make all the money in the world and still be broke, because wealth isn't about how much money you make, it's how much money that you actually keep. I see so many people with high incomes, but they got very low discipline. Number two, the biggest difference between the most successful men and the poorest men.
Man, let's stay at that first one for a second. That's the key right there. That's the key. Listen, even when, man, I've always been able to save, even when it wasn't that crazy, because I was retaining what I kept, because ultimately, what was my reason for doing that? I didn't want to waste my time. I'm coming here, I'm busting my butt, I'm doing hard labor jobs. Man, I have to have something to show for it. That's my mindset. That's my philosophy. I have to have something to show for at the end of this for why it was worth it. So most people don't live like that. Most people can go 30 years working their butt off, slaving, and have nothing to show for it. And that is incredible. I would be depressed if I went a year and didn't have anything to show for it financially, on paper, in the bank, and growing, because you should want to invest that money. The second you invest that money, and I'm not a financial advisor, but the second you invest that money, whatever that looks like, that money now becomes a worker for you. Because if you just let it sit in the bank, all it's doing is losing value. At least put it in a high yield saving account where you can get like 4 or 5% annually. Probably not 5 anymore. It was at one point. But yeah, at least put it in a high yield saving account. Something. Let it gain interest, because inflation is going to wipe it out if you don't. But yeah, absolutely. You got to keep it. There's people I know making tons of money, but they upgrade their lifestyle so fast. And when life happens, which it ultimately always does, they're not prepared for it. And now you're starting at ground zero, like you was living paycheck to paycheck broke. And now you facing the risk of an eviction. And you was making multiple six figures, high six figures at one point. And you don't have nothing to show for that. How do you make 250 grand in a year, and after that year have $0 in your savings account? Guess what? There was a lot of people affected by AI, a lot of like software engineers and developers who during the golden time, especially like when companies like Nvidia, when they were in a race, right, to get the best talent, guess what? They don't need you anymore. And so now you see a lot of people who have went from those type of figures, 250,000, 300,000, 400,000 to zero. And so I hope that you retain some of those earnings so that you can ultimately transition and pivot comfortably.
Men, it's not how hard they work. It simply boils down to solving problems that people are willing to pay for, and then becoming obsessed with that one thing consistently over a long period of time. Most men, they never stay focused enough to become dangerous at that one thing. Number three, your appearance teaches people how to treat you. Men and women will absolutely respect you more if you're in shape and you dress well. Dress how you want to be addressed. Number four, one of the absolute best degrees that you can ever have is learning the world around you. Be curious, ask questions, try new things, because thinking that you know it all will actually cost you on learning what you don't know. Number five, the greatest weapon for financial independence is emotional intelligence. Making money, it requires intelligence, but keeping money, it requires emotional intelligence. You also gonna need a very high tolerance for stress. Number six, do what
I wish you would have broke down emotional intelligence and making money. I don't know about that one. I don't know what that even means, what he's talking about. But then he pivoted to talk about stress tolerance. Yes, that is a big one. And stress tolerance, right? Listen, the life that I live now, like, and keep in mind, when I was younger, I definitely used to work harder as far as labor is concerned, like physical labor. But the way that I live my life now, even though like physically labor jobs, and I had like 3 jobs when I was younger, I absolutely would not be able, like, if you just put that version of me into my life now, I would be wiped out. I wouldn't know left from right. I'd be like, oh no, I can't do this, because that was built over time. And see, stress tolerance is something that has to be built. It's just like a muscle. It's just like going to the gym and continuing to put stress on your muscles. And, progressive overload is what it's called. So that means that, listen, I go and do curls with 20-pound dumbbells. Then maybe in a week, I'll go to 25. In another week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe I can do 30, maybe then 35. And guess what? If you ever seen somebody with a little skinny arm, you know that he can't pick up a 50. But if you keep doing that progressive overload all the way up to 50, then what you'll find is, as your strength is improving, your arms will look different as you continue to progress slowly and incrementally. So you have to take that same thing with your stress tolerance, which is ultimately the ability to be able to carry more and continue working and continue being efficient and productive. And so, again, when I was younger, I didn't have the stress tolerance that I have now. I can be responsible for a lot, I can carry a lot, and that just comes with experience, as well as continuing to build that up throughout life. Now, funny enough, at this age, I probably wouldn't want to do like the physical labor that I was doing when I was younger, but I have a frame of reference and I could do it if I needed to. But for sure, when I was younger, I could not operate at the level that I'm operating now. And that's just because I didn't have enough time and I didn't have enough of that stress tolerance built up. And that's a lot of what you'll see too with a lot of people who are in education, right? And when I say education, I just mean they could even be in school learning something very difficult. You notice they have like really good study habits, and they're able to like continue to just move to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing in whatever their higher education degree is or whatever. And that's because they built up those habits, and as well as that stress tolerance, to be able to do those things.
You love and the money will follow is some of the worst fucking advice ever. You need to learn a high income skill and become so fucking good at it that people feel dumb for not paying you for it. Triple down on the one thing that you're good at instead of trying to prove to everybody that you're good at everything. Number 7, just start. You can always come back and make it look good later. Most men, they get caught up in trying to make something perfect before it even exists. Number 8, you
Man.
absolutely need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Now, I know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would say that that was something that I had to learn too about the sleep, right? Because I used to not get much sleep at all. And man, I think that my health was definitely deteriorating. And now just making sure I get the proper sleep, it's definitely made a difference, even with how I'm able to gain in the gym and all that type of stuff. But it's important. It is important, sleep, especially for your long term health. But dang, what did he say that I want to talk about? Hold on.
Number 7, just start. You can all.
There we go. There we go. Just start. Man, I used to be somebody who, like, I had to do all the research in the world. I had to make a plan. The plan had to be perfect before I started. That's probably why it took me so long to even get on YouTube, because I think I could have got on YouTube a long time ago and I'd be obviously much more further ahead than I am now, right? But yes, just start. I had to take the philosophy that I'm going to build the ship while I sail it and ultimately iterate. And if you don't know what iterate means, that is a term used a lot in like tech circles and just corporate circles. Basically, that just means that you continue to refine as you go. So you remember you used to buy a video game and the video games would just be already done out the pack. And it's just what you see. Whatever's on that disc, that's what the game is. Just that simple. You notice now how they do video games. They'll continue to update video games, kind of like your phone, right? Every so often you get a little update on your phone, and now all of a sudden you update it and it's improved. They do that with games too. They'll add characters after you bought the game, and all you got to do is update it, or maybe you go to the store, the PlayStation store, and you can buy it. You know what I'm saying? They may add another story that you just downloaded into the game, and now there's another story. So guess what? They can put out their product and then they can continue working. And it gives them more flexibility as well because, if let's say the game doesn't perform that well, then maybe they don't continue adding the other stuff. And maybe they have another game that is performing super well and they can invest all their bandwidth to doing DLCs, I think is what it's called, and all that type of stuff to improve that game. And so imagine if they just invested everything into the game that ultimately performed horribly and, was a dud or whatever. It's like you mess up. But if you build it as you fly it, not only do you have more adaptability, but you're learning along the way. You're getting insights along the way, and you're actually able to kind of build on top of that as opposed to just operating off of assumptions, because you can learn as much as you want. But understand this: one day of experience beats 100 hours of reading type knowledge, research type knowledge. One day of experience, in my opinion. You gain so much more just from getting practical experience and being in it than you trying to research your way to understand something. I remember people used to I used to watch YouTube tutorials, all type of stuff. When I actually just started getting in it and started seeing everything and started noticing the patterns in real time, right, through experience and through actually getting in the game, then that's when I was actually able to, put everything to use and actually be effective and start to actually build something. So I love that. He gave a lot of good things. Um, I think we'll leave it there for today, though. Y'all, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video, hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller creators. So that's why we get more points. And that's why your hypes go further when you support smaller channels. You only get 3 a week. So might as well spend them wisely. And then also, if you want to join the channel, as far as the DXU family, then you can press the join button. It should be there on the video. And basically, by joining the DXU family, becoming a member, what you would get is badges that show next to your comments where people will see that you are a part of the membership, and it has that prestige to it. And then also what you would get is early access to videos, to new videos, as well as exclusive videos that aren't even on YouTube, or that aren't available to the entire population. So if you want to do that, then definitely feel free. And then also, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks.